Well, here you go, folks. The 2021 season is over. The Rams beat the Bengals in a nail-biter in crazy fashion, much like the entire postseason. They won 23-20. Rams fans are ecstatic. Bills fans are disappointed. But what an end to an unbelievable season as far as everything showed to be very competitive. And in my lifetime, I don't remember a postseason this good, this exciting, and this close. So when I did my preview to the Super Bowl, things I had talked about was either this was going to come out to be an early blowout or it was going to be a real close one at the end with the Cincinnati Bengals wrapping themselves around the Rams and slowly constricting them and gassing them by the end of the game. Now, it's hard to really evaluate this game because the loss of Odell Beckham really changed things. The Rams were on one trajectory, although the Bengals were showing spunk. But that loss to Odell really changed everything. And in my mind, my keys were stopping the Rams from running the football, which the Bengals did. Getting Stafford into that situation where he gets a little erratic and throws some picks, and that happened. And it was the Bengals running the football to wear down this smallish front. And that really didn't happen. They were close, but it didn't happen. And the Rams really showed a lot of heart to kind of fight themselves out of it because they looked dead to me after the loss of Odell, then the quick touchdown in the second half. They looked gassed. They looked like they were lost, and the Bengals had a chance to knock them out. But to their credit, they showed real fortitude. Now, obviously, the Odell injury is key. Refs being all over the place for both teams, really showing that with all this technology, all this hype about reffing, NFL refs are still the worst in all professional sports. I mean, they're terrible. Terrible. Brutal on Burrow. The beating that Burrow took all season and the postseason and then in the Super Bowl was horrific. I thought his knee was blown. It's going to be interesting to see what happened to that knee. I don't think there was any major damage, but you never know. Stafford and Kupp and the defense rising up for the Rams in the most critical situation. If they didn't get this Super Bowl, considering how much they sold the future, how much of the future they sold for this moment, it could have gotten very ugly. But now with the Super Bowl appearance and the Super Bowl victory, this regime, this team is going to probably take a step down or something where they got to, free up space and kind of like reboot a little bit. But they've got so much cred that this whole regime is now locked in. And McVay, he's got the juice to kind of let things ride out a little bit where he doesn't have to kind of sell more to the future. And so this is a huge, huge, huge win for the Rams. Now, there's talk, too, Aaron Donald said he might retire. That'd be very interesting. So, to me, though, another storyline was the Bengals getting too cutesy. They really did have the Rams on the ropes. A lot of that had to do with the loss of Odell, but they got a little too cutesy. They had him on the hook. And one of the things I wonder, and I'm going to ask, I got to still do the research. I'm tired. It was a late night. Got up early this morning to prepare this. I really thought Carmen should have started. They should have been more run-centric. And I'm going to dig into that a little bit. Maybe the shoulder on Carmen wasn't good enough, But that size and power, I thought, would have been a big, big help. Now, the Bengals held the Rams to 2 yards, less than 2 yards per carry. And you could see how the entire Rams offense was on the skids. They were confused. They were uncertain. And this was the major key that I had. This was the first key that I had. And they did it. But again, that running attack. Under center. See, when you run the football from like a shotgun, it's a totally different vibe. the defenders, the linebackers, and the safeties that are close to the box, they can all see what's going on. And instantly they have a much better ability to read the play. And it kind of, because of the angles, alters what you can kind of do and where the running back can go. Where under center, it allows all the options, adds a little element of confusion. And I think that when you look at the stats, under center, they had 2 big runs, 3 runs for 3 to 4 yards, and then 3 carries that weren't so good. One was in the goal line, and 2 others. One was a third and short. But under center, they had some success in the running game. And to me, because of the Rams' small front, if they could have elevated that success, because Mixon only had 15 carries for like 72 yards, but 4.8 per carry. And to me, that's one thing I didn't like. I understood what they were trying to do, but with Carmen at right guard, that bigger body, hitting, especially when Odell went down, because that defense started to get a little tired. I thought they should have also, when Sean Robinson wasn't out, they got a lot of their big runs. When he came in, he was just a monster. The guy's like 322 pounds. He was a beast. Really huge piece for the Rams. But a couple times he wasn't in there, and they would catch him on a run, and they wouldn't continue up-tempo and continue to run the football. And I thought that's something that they should have done. Not to say they would have won the game or whatever, but I thought that would have been a better game plan for the long term to help gas them out, considering you were stopping the run, and there was the picks and the Odell injury. But, armchair quarterback the next day or whatever, but it did feel that way. Now, when Odell was in, it felt like, okay, the Bengals were going to be scrappy, but we were going towards a blowout. But then the knee went out. Kupp, to his credit, he got the MVP, which I'm surprised. I thought they should give it to Stafford, like they always give it to the quarterback. That 4th down run, there was some key catches. He played amazing. Stafford, 26 of 40, 283, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. But you could see he started getting rattled. And especially after that second pick, they needed to really put the heat on as far as keeping that defense on the field, keeping him in a silence. Because if you notice, Burrow was sitting down, just kind of like chilling out and zoning and looking and being relaxed. And Stafford was pacing the sidelines. The more he could have stayed on that sideline, the more nervous he would have got, because there was so much riding on his career and the situation. So, but to his credit, he came out, him and Kupp pulled it together. Henderson had some big catches. The tight end, I can't remember, it was the backup tight end. That was another key I had. The tight backup tight ends played big, had like 40-something yards. Higgins, Chase, they had big games. Higgins had the 2 TDs with the weird face mask and pole for the touchdown. Okay, move forward. But again, it goes back to that running game. Because that running game would have kept the defensive line of the Ravens from pinning their ears back. And what happened to Burrow, what happened to him all season, it's going to end his career. It's going to shut his career down early. Because they throw with volume, the Bengals throw with volume, and they throw it for distance. And there was a couple that wasn't really focused on, but there's a couple times what happened to him in his rookie season where the guard got beat and there was a hit coming down towards his knee. You could see him get rolled up that time and screaming out in pain. I thought his knee was blown out. This guy is a star, but his career is going to be cut short unless that offensive line gets taken care of. And this is why the Carmen, if he could have played, and the more rushing of the football and more patience. Like, I understand some of those runs, I don't even think they had maybe more than 1 back-to-back runs. And so I just think that if they could have ran the football a little bit more, been a little bit more judicious with and added more volume, it could have protected Burrow more, because Burrow was beaten. He was 22 of 33, 263, 1 touchdown, 0 picks. But he had 19 sacks on the postseason, which was the most of any quarterback in the history of the game and 7 sacks in the game. I don't understand why you're throwing for heavy volume when your quarterbacks get mashed and it's a tight game and the Rams were hamstrung by the loss of Odell. I think that Zach Taylor might regret some of the strategy of the second half. It'll be interesting to see what you Cincinnati fans think about that. I mean, he did a good job this season, but sometimes I feel like he's not really protecting Burrow and not really seeing the full situation. Because Donald, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss. Robinson, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss. And Miller, 2 sacks and 2 tackles for loss. They were brutalizing the Bengals, who had 21% on third down. And there were a couple times they were in close, so it wasn't just the distance, but I just felt the situations could have been called better. There was a few gutsy plays, calls by Zach Taylor that I liked. Some of them I didn't. Some of them that weren't his fault. But I just thought volume running from under center and a little more play action, because they were starting to bite on Mixon running the football. And if you want to run a football, that's fine, but get some serious play action going. And I really didn't feel like they did that. I think the opportunity had really been there. Now, Rams only had 40% on third down. Again, a lot of that is because of Odell. So this game was so close, and it came down to physicality. And just the Rams, I think being at home, having that leadership, the experience of being in a Super Bowl, a lot of these guys have been to Super Bowl before, I think it just kind of paid off. But 7 sacks, that's really brutal. Now, I want to talk about the refs. Can't take the win away from the Rams because of this last bit of reffing, this last minute or two, because the call on Ramsey was so poor. I couldn't believe it. I was like, I was coming back. What? It's not coming back. Everybody was like, wait, it's not coming back. It didn't come back. It was so obvious. I don't understand. And, people are talking about the refs do payback. So they see they screw up there in halftime, or whatever. They gather together. Well, we totally screwed up. Okay, I get that. I kind of get that. But in that last few minutes, on that third down play, they gave him 2 paybacks. The offensive line, the 2 tackles by the Rams, moved before the ball was snapped. That should have been full start. That wasn't called. And then the holding call on the linebacker was very ticky-tack, unlike the rest of the reffing into the game. So you got to choose one or the other. And then there was the throw in the end zone with 24, blasted Kupp. That didn't look like it needed to be called. It was a pretty fair hit. It was chest to chest. And that negated the holding call on the Rams and kept them in that death zone. So to me, the refs really screwed it up. I mean, you want to give one payback, then, okay, let the full start go. But then to do the full start, the holding, the roughing of Kupp, it just seemed either A, overdone payback, or very poor calling. But again, if they had done their job with Ramsey, the Rams would have been ahead and still won it. But still, it just lowers the quality of the game. This is not to invalidate the Rams' win, but just to say the NFL is doing all this stuff with their technology, and they still can't get it right. At some point, you got to ask why. But still a very good game, and both teams now are heading to a very interesting offseason. Bengals are really set up for the future if they could just take care of Burrow. I mean, every resource needs to be utilized to protect Burrow, because this guy is special. He's a rare breed, and he has been beaten like nobody's business and already had a major injury on one knee. And it looks like he's going to have some problems maybe with the other. The Bengals organization has to spend money, use draft picks, fix this line. Quentin Spain's a free agent. I wonder if they bring him back, maybe move him to right guard. I think even though you got Carmen, I think moving him to right guard and then spending money to get a much better tackle and get top tackle and another guard, whether that's through the draft or free agency or both. They need to really pick up 3 quality offensive. They just really need to spend. I mean, draft picks and capital to protect this guy, because they will go back. They have some, they have some hits that they got to take care of. There's some free agents and stuff, but they got $55 million. And with all the movement they can do as far as structuring the cap, they're totally set. Now the Rams are very interesting. I saw they were -10, but they got a Super Bowl win. So that Odell, Miller, that looks like they're going to be free agents. That they come back for pennies. They're going to have to cut people. All this stuff. They're missing many draft picks. So they're going to have to go into a little bit of a winter time for a year or two to restructure everything. But you've got, 2 Super Bowl appearances, 4 years and 1 win? It's well worth it. The Rams sacrificed the future for today, and it paid off. So my hats go off to the Rams and the Rams fans. And for the Bengals, you have a team. You have a team and an elite quarterback. Just got to finish this off. Got to do it right. But congratulations to you, because nobody really expected this. And so as much as it had to hurt to lose this game, you have to be proud and happy. Just pray that the Browns aren't cheap and are wise again and spend wisely in their draft picks on this offensive line. But what a game. What a way to end a season. A really great season. Let's only hope that 2022 postseason even comes close. This is Curtis saying, thanks for staying to the end. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Comments mean the most. Subscriptions help us with the Google Overlords, keeps us in business, and it keeps our sponsor happy and keeps me doing this. I'm up for another season, so I'd like to keep that and go for a 3rd season. I'm really enjoying myself. I'm going to have off-season coverage for both teams, the Rams and the Bengals. Bengals, I think I'm going to bring into a major part of my rotation going into the next season. Really enjoy Burrow and really enjoy what they did. There's so much to like. So as Curtis saying, 2022 season's on its way. Can you believe it? Curtis saying, be well. Catch you next time. See you soon. Start building your own online sports book today by getting signed up with aceperhead.com service that'll allow you to book action on sports from all around the world.